Sidney Rigdon says, well, I'm going to go back to New York and meet this prophet. Well, I don't think they're calling him a prophet yet, but I'm going to meet the guy that translated the Book of Mormon. I got to meet this guy, So he and this Edward Partridge, one of his parishioners, take off, and they go and they finally meet up with Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith gets a couple of revelations and saying that he's like the forerunner, like John the Baptist. John the Baptist, like, and the field is white, all ready to harvest.
Who's the forerunner? Sidney Rigdon?
Sidney Rigdon, because he converted all those people by rejecting Campbell's version of restoration, and he was looking for a more charismatic version of the restoration. And that's Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon.
And I think it's worth pointing out, today we have entire denominations of Christianity which believe in speaking in tongues and healing. And that's what essentially a lot of these early Mormon converts were yearning for. And when they encountered that, they're like, okay, this is the restoration of the original church, not just getting rid of traditions of men, but even the miracles of Acts chapter 2. So it's almost like, or maybe not almost like, it is that there is a need that was filled in the 20th century by these charismatic denominations, like, and I'm not an expert on this, but I think like Assemblies of God and things like that, that Mormonism filled in a sense in the early 19th century. Is that
the Pentecostal? It's kind of the Pentecostals. There's a few Pentecostals that have studied Mormonism that are shocked.
Oh, really? Okay.
Some of the doctrines Joseph Smith was teaching way before they came along. And Parley P. Pratt said he was attracted to it because Campbellism had the form of godliness, but not the power thereof.
I heard a claim that until the Morley family introduced speaking in tongues into the Mormon world, that nobody in America, maybe even in modern Christianity, had exhibited speaking in tongues. Do you know anything about that? Does that sound right?
That Morley family they were super charismatic, like over the top charismatic, too much even for Joseph Smith.
Like there were people who I think who say that the Quakers had speaking in tongues, but apparently the earliest documented, or I've heard the claim that the earliest documented source of that is after what was going on in Ohio with the Mormons. That sound right? Or you know anything about that? Okay. Maybe somebody can comment, post in the comments about that, because I'm not I know in medieval Christianity there's discussions about speaking in tongues, but the modern phenomenon of speaking in tongues, a lot of people will claim it started on Azusa Street in the early 20th century. But no, the Mormons were doing it 100 years before.
Yes.
Okay, and there were even things that are going on that they'll call the what is it called, the Toronto revival or something, or like the barking and laughing. The barking was going on. It's described in the Mormon sources.
That was done like at Canesville Ridge revival in Kentucky. All the revivals, the Second Great Awakening, right? They had lots of tongue speaking and barking, and
so that was going on before Mormonism, you're saying?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay,
that's the way I've always understood.
Okay, and I don't know enough about it, but that's an incredible thing that Mormonism thrived off of speaking in tongues and healings and things like that.
Well, the Book of Mormon promises that those who repent without hypocrisy, and when they're baptized, they shall come out of the waters of baptism, speaking with the tongues of angels.
So how could Joseph Smith, I'm thinking out loud here, how did he have the gall to make that claim when he himself had never spoken in tongues? Or had he? Maybe he had, I don't know.
Well, there is a tradition in the church, Mormon church, that is Brigham Young introduced tongue speaking. But it's not true. They were speaking in tongues in New York before Brigham.
Oh, they were? Okay. So then it doesn't come from the Morley family originally. Okay.
No. But they were over the top in their expression
You have been listening to Hebrew Voices. To hear the rest of this conversation, head over to nehemiaswall.com and become a support team member today.